project I'm going to talk to you about today is one called The Journey, from which I had to pick a journey and I chose time travel, where I was travelling 100 years into the future via time machine. And here's a mini mood board depicting some images about time travel, and here are my initial thoughts, and the destination being where genders are irrelevant and we live in a more sustainable environment. And this is some initial research into time travel about the science behind it, involving protons and scientific equipment, and how I could involve that into a garment design. Here is some research into films that already involve time travel, the most famous being Back to the Future, and I thought it was interesting how Marty McFly has to think about what he wears in the future to avoid embarrassment, Doc most likely giving him the outfits. Here are some exhibition research pages, this one being from Stella McCartney, where she combines resources of Mother Nature and how she believes the future of fashion will look, which I thought was quite interesting. And this one is called A Human, where it's about human bodily modifications, which also again was another interesting thing to me, because that is how we could look in 100 years time. Here is a mini mood board, and this is where my experimentation starts with heat press printing, where I printed different shapes and colours of things that I believe you would see whilst time travelling. And here is a fabric manipulation where I used couching with elastic thread to in spiral shapes on a sustainably sourced piece of scrap fabric, and managed to create a tunnel, which again to me depicts the movement of time and how it would look through time travel. Here is some research into men redefining fashion, in particular Harry Styles, how he combines masculinity and femininity, and that's how I believe we will be creating fashion in the future. And here is a quick workshop about how to correctly style garments for reselling. It was hard to find garments at home, or like clothing that I owned at home that related to time travel, but it was very useful to get the experience out of this. And here is a directed fashion workshop where I created a still life using an arrangement of feminine and masculine objects, and did some still life drawings of those, which I later cut up and created little garment dresses onto mini mannequins, and finished the garment designs with sketches. And similarly did some paper cutouts and in spiral shapes inspired by the movement of time. And using that same spiral I made headdresses, which I combined with scraps of fabric and threads inspired by these images that I believe a time traveller would typically dress like. Here is some research into sustainable fashion, where this is sustainably sourced fabric created into a coat. And here is an embellishment of embroidery threads of how I believe movement of time would look again. Here is some just draping on stand and fashion illustration, where I used fabric on a mannequin and then made sketches from those designs. And this is a collage to design workshop, where I created collages from magazines, newspapers, and then did more realistic designs of those afterwards, involving elements of time, utility pockets, and things that I believe a time traveller would need. And here is my set of 10 final sketches involving, again, utility pockets, time travel elements like watches, clocks, and the movement of time, such as these spikes that I imagine how it would look going through the space. And this is a sustainable looking outfit where I believe the future of fashion will be taking us. And this is my final design, involving combining all of the elements together, creating a futuristic and time travel inspired look.